It is a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Arash Hakhamian all the way from Beverly Hills. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's nice when the rich and famous in Beverly Hills talk to us poor homies over in Phoenix.
Please, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So how are you doing today?
Fantastic. It's actually a day before my birthday. Ended up sharing this fine day with you guys, and
Oh, right on.
I'm happy.
I'm so glad to get you on the show. Your father was a dentist in Iran, so being a dentist is genetic, huh?
It's partly genetic, partly by force. We only get three options in my culture. It's either dentist, doctor, lawyer, or homeless is the other option.
A doctor, dentist, lawyer, or homeless. And your
Yeah.
mother is an RDA expanded function, right? A registered dental assistant expanded function. Your brother's a dentist. Your sister's a hygienist. That is so cool. You know, when I go around the world, no matter what dental school or dentist you meet, when you're in dental schools, about a third of the dental students have a dentist in their family. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter if you're in Brazil, India, China. I mean, occupations are very cultural,
that's right.
or family.
Well, they say no matter how much it seems like kids never listen to their parents, they never fail to imitate them, right?
Well, that's a good saying. Dr. Arash moved to the USA and grew up in Los Angeles with four siblings. And where did you move from? Iran?
Yeah, my family was originally brought up in Iran, and after the revolution, we obviously had to leave and we came here for a better opportunity. And grew up here all my life.
So how old were you when you moved?
I was the eldest. I was around 7 or 8 years old when I moved here.
So
And
do you have any memories of it?
I do. I vaguely remember some of the cities in Iran where we lived outside of the park, main park in Tehran. But hopefully when the opportunity presents itself, I can go back and visit. But very happy and fortunate and honored to have had the opportunity to grow up in the educational system and the community in which I was given the opportunity.
We podcast interviewed an amazing dentist from Iran just a while back ago. And I always look at the country registrations on Dentaltown, and Dentaltown is actually exploding in Iran.
Yes,
So you graduated from UCLA with a degree in anthropology.
that's right.
USC Dental School, 2009. 2010 began career subleasing a chair one day a week in an office in Beverly Hills. Outgrew the chair and began looking for an office. He purchased a small office in Southgate for 50 grand. Grew same practice to 2.6 million in 3 years. Currently owns 5 dental practices in Southern California and a partnership in West Hollywood. Currently teaching seminars on office management and marketing, consulting numerous offices on increasing revenue and on office sale and acquisition. Teach for several implant companies and organizations on implantology and surgical techniques. Spend almost 2 months every year volunteering around the world. You are an amazing man. It is just an honor to meet you. So you have 5 offices now. You're in Beverly Hills. Are all 5 offices high-end cosmetic?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I situate my offices in areas where it's a lot more geared towards restorative work and rather than cosmetic. So I have offices from Thousand Oaks to downtown LA to Long Beach. So each different office kind of molds to the community in which it's located. But we have basically everything under the roof. We have all the specialties that come in, and if they need cosmetics, we offer that, and we also offer surgeries and braces and pretty much everything under the roof.
And you have the specialists rotating through the offices?
That's right. Yes.
And weren't you branching that out to services in Phoenix, where I live?
Not yet. I got my hands full over here in Southern California, so we'll see how it goes. We gotta get married first. We'll after the marriage and kids, maybe we'll branch out to to other states.
Are you married now?
No, not yet.
Okay, well, we'll save your money and just keep working. So now, do these 5 offices do they take insurance? Talk about the economics of them.
Yeah, we try to stay away from HMOs, so none of my offices accept HMOs. I'm very adamant about staying away from HMOs. I haven't had such a good experience with them, but pretty much PPO, free for service. We mainly really like to use the lending groups such as Lending Club and Care Credit. So really we offer that as a convenient modality for the patients to pay, and we find a much higher acceptance rate when we use those. So that's really what I focus on mainly, is areas where people have creditworthiness and can get approved for those payment plans.
I thought one of the things, those are both excellent companies, Lending Club, Care Credit, but I thought one of the most interesting things Care Credit did is they will come into your office and they will run a report for all the dentists in your zip code about how much they're lending each month. Because so many people say, well, nobody gets approved, doesn't work in my community. And then they'll say, okay, there's 5 offices in your zip code that are doing 50 grand a month. Can you talk about Lending Club versus Care Credit, or how that works?
I was actually, interestingly enough, they sent me a report similar to the one you mentioned, but from the West Coast. And in 2015, I was in the top 2% of offices in the West Coast as far as Care Credit. We did, I think, a little over $1.5 million just that year, just in Care Credit alone. So one of the reasons why I love and cherish these programs is because, let's get real. Dentistry is very expensive, and a lot of these procedures are unaffordable to most patients, especially when you ask for full payment up front. So a lot of people try to save before they can have enough money to place that implant or to do root canal and crown. But while they're saving, legitimately trying to achieve that recommendation, that goal that you set for them, everything is deteriorating. So I love that Care Credit and Lending Club offer an opportunity to get their work done now, complete everything, stop everything from deteriorating, and then make payments towards their work. So I really found that to be helpful in allowing the patients to do the full treatment plan that I recommend at the time that I recommend it.
Well, when you go to poor countries, they build their houses over 10 years. I mean, you'll see a house. I mean, it looks like none of the houses are real, like in the Caribbean, none of the houses are really ever done. It's just a constant work in process. And then in America, they say, we're going to lend you all the money up front, furnish the whole house, and then move in and then pay it out the back. But America needs to do more of that in their dentistry, don't they? Because it stops the progression of these. When you do one-tooth dentistry, like you say, other diseases are progressing, and you'd rather just stop all the disease and then pay it off.
Right then and there, exactly. And they take a small percentage, but I think it's also a good opportunity for the doctor to make sure that while the patient is hot, while they understand the treatment, they commit to it at that point, and much higher probability of success once you have a commitment from the patient as well. So I think it just works both ways. You got to definitely educate the patients, make sure that they understand how to repay these type of loans. I don't want any of my patients ending up getting stuck in one of these high interest loans, but generally it has never been an issue. It's really helped both sides, I believe.
So I want you to address a question that a lot of dentists are battle with, and that is, who talks money? Some dentists believe that a doctor cannot be a doctor and professional and talk money. Other people say the doctor has to talk money because, am I going to explain to you, a Mercedes, a Buick, a Porsche, a Chevy, a used car, take the bus. What do you think about doctors talking money?
I actually have, I think, having set up these different offices over the last couple of years, I have different experiences, and I put together about 10 items that I wanted to go over with you that I think would really help your viewers. Coming straight out of dental school and then going into setting up an office and actually treatment planning and trying to get better case acceptance. So that's one of the things I wanted to mention.
These are your 10 dental commandments.
They're the ongoing and continuously changing 10 commandments. So
I remember having an argument with, I grew up in Catholic school, and I remember arguing with the nun in the 6th grade when she's talking about the 10 commandments. And I'm like, okay, there's not 10. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet the neighbor's goods. Same thing. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not covet the neighbor's wife. Same thing. There's not 10. And I would argue with her that there was only 6. And she finally said, okay, you're right. There is 6. But you notice 10 just sounds better. So go through your 10 commandments. Just rant them.
Well, the first thing I really realized in dental school, and coming out of dental school, is the difference between knowing what you don't know and not knowing what you don't know. And something my professor mentioned to me, he said the scary thing is a lot of dentists don't even know what they don't know. And one of the first things for me early on was to try to figure out what the heck it is that I don't know. I don't know Spanish. I don't know marketing. I don't know anything about insurances. So coming out of school, I realized there's a lot I didn't know. Maybe I knew how to, fill a class 1 composite, or, does primer come first, or does adhesive come first? Those things I knew. But all the other aspects of how to compete with dentists, how to set up an office, how to create the right forms. So one of the things I urge dentists coming out of school, and dentists who've been dentists for 20, 30, 40 years, is to realize and do a little bit of research outside of your comfort level about the things that you don't know. Maybe you don't know anything about implants. Maybe you don't know anything about search engine optimization. Maybe you don't know anything about podcasts. You go out there and try to expand your horizon and realize what it is that's not in your comfort level, what it is that you don't know. And whether it's getting, going to CE courses, I actually learned tons and tons of stuff while my friends were going out drinking on the weekends. I would go to CE courses, whether it was in San Diego or the CDA convention. I'd do the Anaheim convention, and then a couple months later I'd fly out and do the San Francisco convention in California, and I would just listen to all the different things all the vendors had to say, all the different classes, and from each one I absorbed a little bit, a little bit of information. And that created a good foundation on where to do a little bit more research. So I think the first lesson is realize what you know, realize what you don't know, and that'll create a good avenue for you to be able to create a goal for yourself to move forward. The second commandment I'd say is try to take your risks as early as possible, especially for my new graduates coming out. My own personal recommendation is don't save the risks until you're 45, 50 with a family, 55, 60, and you're ready to retire, and then worry about, I should have done this, or I should have tried that. I say take the risks early. I never went into an associate's position with someone out of dental school. I went and rented a chair in a dental office in Beverly Hills, and then I took another big chance and got my own office in a no-name city, something that I could afford, and I took those risks early on, and I think they really have paid off, not only with the amount of experience that I gained, but also I don't have to worry about making that large push later on when I have kids and no time. So, I think taking risks, calculated risks, is very important. I think the sooner on in your career you take it, the earlier the better. The third thing I really like to push is setting goals. It's amazing to me. Many of the dentists I speak to or I consult for, I ask them just basic questions like, what's your daily goal? What's your daily goal? What's your monthly goal? Where do you want to be in a year? What is it that you want to do with your practice in 5 years? What is it that you want to implement? And really, most of them just kind of move forward in these motions without really giving it any thought. They make what they make. Their goal is to have green in their account, not to be in the red. Even my father, when I graduated, I asked him. I said, Dad, what's your goal? What's your daily production goals? How do you plan on giving and incentivizing your staff? What's your marketing goals? How many new patients a month do you want? So a lot of these specific goals, unfortunately, are not given much attention in most practices that I visit. And just by implementing a special number, you can say I would like to make $5,000 a day, or I'd like to make this much gross profit or net profit, or this much gross income. Just stating your goals and writing them down, I have found to be really instrumental in becoming more effective in achieving my goals. So I think that's something that I do every day. I try to set a daily goal, and I try to set monthly goals in my personal life and in my professional life, and I think that's really helped tremendously. So the fourth commandment, I learned this one from a convention in San Diego. So I attended this convention. I drove out there from LA, stayed over the weekend, And everyone's like, you gotta go to this CE course. So I walk in, and yours truly is speaking. My first time hearing you lecture, going on and on. And one thing really stood out. You said, you kind of pointed at every dentist. You know why you're a jerk? You know why you're a jerk? I was like, what? I just met this guy. He's calling me a jerk. So you don't know how to handle 4 or 5 women. What makes you can barely handle your wife? What makes you think you can handle 4 or 5 other women? And I wasn't married at the time, or I'm still not married, but it kind of clicked to me that he's right. How am I supposed to manage an entire office, get to know every single person, treat the patients, treatment plan? How can I do all these things? How can I take on this much responsibility? I need to get a manager. And you were very specific about the age, sexual orientation, the marital status of the manager. But all jokes aside, I literally went home that week, and at the time I didn't have a manager. And I think I was grossing somewhere about $60,000 a month, $70,000 a month without a manager. And immediately, within 3 months after getting a manager who was very, very, very organized, very experienced, and almost had a motherly feel, could connect with all the different staff and help me on my team, kind of as the mediator, my gross revenue jumped up to about 150, and it never went below 150 after that. It never went below 150. So we more than doubled our gross income every single month. Everyone was happier. I actually understood what people's concerns are. She was able to communicate to me properly what it is that my staff was feeling. And so I found that to be a tremendous asset. So please don't be cheap. I remember I had associates working for me. These guys, really great dentists, amazing dentists, but didn't have an office, lost their office, and they were trying to educate me on the fact that a manager who gets paid $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 is completely worthless. Why would you throw your money away? And thank God I didn't take that advice. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I would invest that money in someone who can make my life easier, who can help bring more productivity to the office, but also a better flow, a better atmosphere, a better vibe that I myself would not be able to achieve. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, it's a lot harder to figure out people than it is to place an implant or do a root canal.
I agree. And the team effort, there's a lot of things that maybe the staff won't come directly to you as a doctor and communicate with you. But having a manager there to communicate with each and every one of them on a daily basis, and to help educate you on how to better treat your staff as well, I think that was very instrumental. So besides the right team, which starts out with a good manager, I think the right manner in which you speak with patients also will have a really huge impact on the productivity of your practice. So, I grew up in an office. My dad used to walk into the room, look at his little light box, with his little magnifying glass, and then he'd call out some numbers to the staff member, 5-0, 13 MOD, and would greet the patient very briefly and basically walk out. And then the treatment coordinator would walk back in, speak prices and do whatever they do. And that was maybe they would do a little bit of explaining to the patient. And I see a lot of offices do that. When I walked in, I felt like if I can educate the patients in their chair and treatment plan while educating them, and they become involved in the treatment plan, I would have a better acceptance rate. And when I moved to Southgate, I actually didn't speak a single word of Spanish. It's a very heavily Latino neighborhood. So I bought this DVD. Actually, to be honest with you, when I was in dental school, I really had a hard time communicating a lot of this stuff to the patients. So I just Googled a patient education software company, and I found one. This particular one was called Sidekick by InfoStar. That's the one that I found when I was in dental school. I contacted the company and I said, hey, can you donate one to the library of the school? So they actually donated a copy. So I would walk around with my laptop in school, and that's really how I started my patient education. I was actually showing them videos. So it really worked out well for me. So when I came out to private practice, I found patient education videos to be godsend. First of all, they have different languages. So if I want to use Spanish, I just click the Spanish. If I want to use English, there's French. They have all different types of languages. So I learned my Spanish initially that way. I repeated basically everything that the Spanish portion of these videos said.
And what was the name of the video company? Sidekick?
Yeah, this particular one was called Sidekick, and it was by a company called InfoStar.
InfoStar Sidekick.
InfoStar.
You still use it?
I still use it to this day. Yeah.
Sidekick by InfoStar?
Exactly. Yeah. You can. They're based out of California, and really nice guy. I think they do like websites and SEO stuff like as well. But the product that I can really speak on is that site. It's very similar to Casey. I've since watched pretty much all of them. So there's a lot of different good ones, but any one that you use is better than none at all. The other reason I used those patient education videos was when they see it and they hear it, and there's a third party outside of your staff that's also explaining and reiterating these points. It not only establishes more trust for the patient, but I also utilized it to step away from the room. So if I had to step away and I needed 5-10 minutes, there's nothing worse than the patient sitting there for 10 minutes, just twiddling their thumbs, trying to figure out why did they leave me? Why are they abandoning me? Well, I just have them watch this video, and they were doing patient education while I stepped away from that operatory. So I use it in different ways, but the combination of the patient education videos and the intraoral camera was instrumental. I would literally treatment plan with the intraoral camera. So I would have a huge big screen television in every operatory. And big screen, I mean nothing less than 40 inches.
Wow.
We're not talking about these 23, 30 inch television. 40 inch, I wanted to see the plaque. I wanted to see the calculus bridge. I wanted to see the fistula. So I would make sure I put an intraoral camera in the mouth and make sure they see everything one by one. And then they would see it. I would educate them with the patient education videos and then the models. So I'd also have a basket where I have all the different models on implants and bone loss and root canals. So that they can feel it with their hands, they can see it on the television, they can hear it in their native tongue, and they can see it with an intraoral camera. And I think that combination.
I just found it on my iPhone. It's infostarproductions.com. www.infostarproductions.com. So what do you also what intro camera do you use?
The one I started off with was the Einstein. It was popular and relatively inexpensive, and I found some on eBay that I could purchase very affordably. And I think anyone is good. My particular beef is with the wired ones. You have to disassemble it and reassemble it and kind of connect it to every computer that you use. I like wireless, so I could just take one, and I have one camera to every operatory, and I have receivers in each operatory. So I like the wireless ones, but really any one is okay. I've even used the cheap $50 ones off of eBay. And I've had the $2,000-$3,000 ones that I bought at the dental convention.
So you like the wireless, so you don't have to so you have to buy one for each operatory? Is that what you're meaning by that?
If you just buy one, for example, one Einstein, which is a wireless, you just buy a receiver for each operatory, and I have a television in each op. So I just have a receiver in the back of the television. I can just carry the same camera to any operatory and use it there. The same way I have a Nomad. I don't have X-ray machines in each operatory. I have one Nomad or two Nomads, and we can carry that to every single operatory and take X-rays.
Wow. Wow. So you like the Nomad?
I do. It's worked out for me. I don't have to pay the constant taxes and dumping fees and re-registration fees. When you have a X-ray unit in each operatory, it's very expensive. The maintenance is expensive, and you got to keep paying taxes on those. So I found one Nomad or two Nomads and two sensors to be
And
cheap.
that's made by Gendex, right?
Yes, it is. I
Yeah.
believe so.
And how much are those?
There's a couple thousand, maybe about 4 or 5 thousand, I would say.
But you just feel you save money, so you don't have to have it in every room.
Yeah, I have, in one of my offices, I have 12 ops. Imagine me having, having an extra unit in each operatory. So I have two Nomads, a couple of sensors. I also utilize phosphorus plates in my office. They work out really well. So you can use the Nomad for sensors, for traditional X-rays, for phosphorus plates.
And why did you go phosphorus plates instead of shooting into a sensor? Why did you want to add a step of having to go develop the phosphorus plates?
I have both. Believe it or not, I have both technologies in my offices. The sensors sometimes are a little too bulky. Obviously, they're very expensive. So maybe with a new staff member, I'd rather them use a phosphorus plate, which is $20. It's much thinner. It's much more.
What system was that?
The one that I use, the phosphorus plate system, I forget the name. Scanex. Scanex is the one I use.
ScanX.
Yeah.
And so, what percent would you say you use the phosphorus plate versus
I use probably half and half.
half
When
and
I
half?
when I do specialty treatment, I want the picture of the apex if we're doing endo or if I'm placing an implant. I want to see it immediately right then and there. I use a sensor. With the phosphorus plates, you have to actually carry back to a machine that digitizes everything. So if I want something instantly, I use the sensor.
All right, sorry to keep interrupting you. But my homies they always if I leave out any name or whatever, I'm gonna get a barrage of emails. What was this? What was that? So I try to answer all the emails before during the show.
Well, let's go to rule one. Know what you don't know. So if people are interested in a sensor and they want to know which sensor is best, they don't know, go out and do some research. Go read, some of the feedback that people have on Dental Town magazine and other similar forums about specific products. So I think the salespeople will say anything they can to get you to buy, but go listen to other doctors and hear about what their experience has been. And I always buy stuff off eBay. If I want to test something out, I go off of eBay. I go off of my local trade Craigslist, and I buy something that's used. I try it out before I implement it in all my offices, and it's worked out really well for me. If you feel like you want to implement intraoral cameras, buy a cheapy $30, $40, $50 one. Figure out how to use it, make your mistakes, and then go and invest in a $2,000-$3,000 one after.
Now on eBay, is it always an auction, or some of it like Craigslist where you can just buy on a price?
Sometimes you can just buy something right then and there, and it'll be shipped at your office within 2 to 3 days.
I only got on eBay one time, and I spent so much money. I said I'm never going to go back on it again. You know what I saw and I bought? It was right when eBay came out. What was that, like 94?
Addictive, huh? Yeah, it was in 95, 96, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was checking it out, and there was some retiring dentist in Louisville, Kentucky, selling the first 3 books written by G.V. Black, autographed and signed by him for buco bucks. And I'm like, oh my God, I want those books so bad. So that was, I only made one purchase of those guys. It was for a fortune. So on the 10 Commandments, 1 was know what you don't know. 2 was take risk earlys. 3 was set goals in writing. 4 was get a manager. 5 was patient education. And I feel like you're into 6 now on technology, or
Yeah.
what other technology?
And this is for me, depending on your level of expertise, but to me, technology is all encompassing. I think that what set me, apart from most other dentists is I was just doing things they weren't. I mean, for example, I don't do a single extraction unless I do unless I'm putting something back in. So I'm not in the school of thought where you can just extract a tooth and just let the patient go. So I like to curette my socket. I like to either add some bone in there or take some blood, centrifuge it, and fill it in with something that's autogenous, CGF, PRF, PRP. There's a lot of different acronyms for it, but I love to use different technology. I have a piezo in my unit. We place implants. We have a CT scan. Just the implementation of technology, CEREC, intraoral scanning. I think the patients very much appreciate this, and I think that unless you get onto this train, you're going to be left behind. I think a lot of these big chains, for example, who are gobbling up different offices, they're implementing a lot of these things. They're spending money on placing implants. They have CEREC machines. They have intraoral scanners. They do same-day crowns. Pacific Dental Services, for example, I mean, that's their bread and butter. So when you're competing with some of these guys, you've got to have some of the similar, if not better, technology that will set you apart, or else you're going to be left behind. So,
which one of those corporate chains in California do you think are competitive advantage, going good, growing good, expanding good? I mean, which chains out there are expanding in corporate dentistry?
I think they all have the same. They have the same principles, and I'm not a big fan of the corporate chains, but Western Dental, West Coast Dental, Bright Now Dental. I know Aspen Dental is making a move, trying to come to the West Coast. Pacific Dental Services. They're all doing well, and there's so many people in Los Angeles and in California, really, that they can afford to create these types of offices. And this is one of the leading cities in the evolution of dentistry. There's plenty of cities where people still refer out to the periodontist, and people still refer out to their oral surgeon and to the endodontist. Well, these big corporations are literally creating multi-specialty clinics where people can come into one roof. They can get all the work done at a much better rate in a much more convenient manner. So with that is coming an implementation of different technologies into the offices. So when they go down the street to Dr. Bob, and Dr. Bob doesn't do root canals, doesn't do extractions, doesn't know how to place implants, can just basically do fillings and maybe extract a loose tooth, doesn't do periosurgery. Well, they're going to go down the street. They're going to find a really nice, crisp, beautiful dental office that has very nice, clean waiting room area, clean bathroom, a nice, pretty sign, a fancy website, and they have all this nice technology. Who do you think they're going to pick? Most of the time they're going to pick that office. Now, it's not to say that the quality of work is going to be better there, but for the most part, patients will be initially more drawn to that technology and the more advanced look and features of those offices.
So you said like I grew up in Kansas, and everybody would tell you, your great grandparents tell you that everything starts in California and New York, and it'll get here to Kansas in about 10 years. So I know all my homies listening in the Midwest, like Oklahoma and Nebraska, where corporate's not really taken, so they're probably really interested in hearing some guy out there in the West Coast, like what? But you mentioned Western Dental, West Coast Dental, Aspen, Pacific, and any other corporate chains out there
right now
that you think are expanding?
I think, yeah, I don't know if you mentioned Bright Now.
Bright Now, B-R-I-G?
Right now, yeah, like it's
B-R-I-T or B-R-I-G-H-T?
B-R-I-G-H-T, Bright Now.
One word?
Yeah.
So Bright Now, those are the ones doing good?
Yeah, and a word on these corporate, companies, especially for the new grads coming out. It's very enticing. They'll hire anyone. And, let's keep it real. You get out of dental school, you probably cut about 5 to 10 crowns. Maybe you've done one bridge, maybe two dentures. So, moving and jumping into an atmosphere where there's going to be 20 patients waiting for you outside. It's all production driven. You got to really be careful what kind of risks you take as a new graduate. You're going to work in one of these places, and at the end of the day, the responsibility falls on your shoulder. They'll put you in an office. They'll pay you, your base salary, $500, $600, $700 a day, and then they'll create a incentive for you to produce. And you really got to be careful because they will expect that production, and you really want to start your career off on the right foot. So you got to be careful not to do unnecessary treatment, not to do things that are beyond your area of expertise, because at the end of the day, it can tarnish your reputation and have a huge impact on your license. So corporate dentistry definitely serves its purpose, but as a dentist moving into the corporate field and working for these companies, you got to really, really, really make sure you set your standards and your limits, and make sure you don't let anyone pressure and force you beyond those limits that you set for yourself.
So you're a big fan of CEREC then?
I believe that CEREC is the future. I believe that any technology that will enhance, our patient experience is going to be better. Me making you a crown or a veneer or an inlay within 2 hours in front of you has much more of an impact to the patient than putting them in a temporary, falls out on the way home. They're calling you the next day trying to figure out where they can get glue. And they come back and it doesn't fit right, and then it's another appointment. So I think absolutely. I think it's the technology has a lot of improvement, but I think it's a well worth investment.
So do you have one in each of your 5 offices?
I do not. I fiddle around with the idea of having one and having my offices basically send their impressions to this central home base that makes all the crowns for the different offices. So when I use the CEREC, I basically have my offices send their cases to my own central CEREC machine, and then I send the cases back to the office.
I see that getting more and more popular, even with CEREC users, where now they mostly use just the oral scanning part of it and either store them all on the machine and then have a lab tech come into their office one day a week and mill them all out, or just scan them and send them straight to a lab.
Actually, it's funny because some labs are actually they're investing in the scanners now, and they'll actually give you the scanner and lend you the scanner for free, and you can take all your scans at the office and send it to their lab. So,
have you done that, or are you considering it?
I actually have been approached by 2 different labs. I teach for a company called DO. It's an implant company, DIO. And,
DIO implant company?
It's a Korean company. They actually have a very good product. I do a lot of surgeries in my offices, and they're implementing, surgical guides for implants. So they'll actually bring you an intraoral scanner, and with a combination of an intraoral scan, a CT scan, they'll amalgamate those 2 scans together and create you a surgical guide. And it really, really, really has made placing implants much more accessible to dentists who maybe don't have as much experience. They can take those, and then they'll help you guide and plan the size of implants for that particular patient. They'll send you the implants, they'll send you the surgical guide, and basically it's easy as 1, 2, 3 at that point.
And why did you, with almost 175 implant companies, why did you pick DIO? And the reason I asked is because, I get a gazillion emails, howard@dentaltown.com, and they're always asking, help me make a decision. There's so many different systems. So why did you're a very smart guy, why did you pick that one and not the 174 other ones?
I actually have. I've tried out a bunch, and my experience has been that most of them pretty much work the same. There's obviously differences in surface area, surface treatment, and the different sizes and platforms. So I use about 3 or 4 different companies. One of the reasons why I chose a smaller company was that I felt like I got a lot more attention. Some of these bigger companies are just another number, and they're charging unbelievable amounts of money for an implant that I can get from Korea. Has been one of the leading countries, in my opinion, in technology and innovations. They are just on another level. The American dentists and American population as a whole thinks that we are ahead of everybody, which is just not the case. So I've traveled all around the world, from Germany to Korea to Vietnam to South America and Central America. I found Korea to be very, very, very technologically advanced. So I bring a lot of technology over from Korea, and everyone places implants there. Everybody places implants. It's just normal for general dentists to place implants. So I found using the Korean companies has been very affordable. I've gotten really much better service with them, and they have a lot of different techniques and a lot of parts that the American companies don't have just yet, especially in collecting bone and using. They've now come out with a system where you can actually take an extracted tooth and you can use parts of the actual tooth and grind it up and replace it back into the socket, as in replacement of a bone grafting material. Or they have these scrapers that you can use and actually remove some of the bone from other areas of the jaw very simply just by scraping and reimplanting into the surgical site. Or by spinning, I know this was by Shukran, but they're very big on using CGF, and they take blood and they centrifuge it and they use that back in the extraction site. So I love this technology. So I found the Korean companies to be very helpful. So Dentist, Dio, Hyosin are three good companies.
Say them again. Which ones?
Dentist, Dentis, without the T. That's the company I actually started with, believe it or not. And they had so many classes that I went to. I now teach for a company called GDIA, Global Dental Implant Academy, GDIA. And we use the dentist.
GDIA?
Yeah, GDIA.
Global Dental Implant Academy?
Yes, there's a fantastic group of surgeons, and we basically take dentists to Mexico. We do training seminars in Mexico, in Tijuana, in Mexico City. We've taken students to Vietnam. So we take them to different areas where we can actually help provide free dentistry and surgical procedures to those who ordinarily wouldn't be able to afford them. And then the American students often get to enhance or improve their technical and surgical procedures. So if they know how to place implants and don't know how to do sinus lifts, we'll teach sinus lifts, lateral window, crestal approach, bone grafting, implant placement, soft tissue management. These are all some of the things that we teach in these courses. So anyone who wants to really enhance their surgical techniques can either email me or look up GDIA online or on Facebook, and can contact me for future classes. And there's a really good group of guys, Dr. Kim, Jin Kim, who you may have heard of. He's a periodontist, was a clinical professor at UCLA. He's spearheading this organization, and he's one of my mentors and a fantastic surgeon.
And he's with the Global Dental Implant Academy?
That's right, yeah. Dr. Roger Song, who's a professor in Korea, the guy teaches amazing classes on doing sinus lifts with no bone, Howard. Have you ever even heard of this? The guy takes your blood, centrifuges it, and takes out these slug-looking particulates. This is your platelet-rich plasma. So he does a lateral window sinus lift, elevates the membrane, and basically, instead of putting bone, put your own body's growth factors and platelet-rich plasma. And then he puts it back, and just as long as the membrane of the sinus is elevated for a prolonged period, the middle fills in with bone. So he's been doing revolutionary ridge augmentation sinus lift without any use of bone. And so,
will you email me and introduce me to him? Will you see?
Yeah, he's one of the most amazing surgeons I've met ever, and I would love to put you in touch with him.
Well, you know what? And the other guy from USC, we put Dentaltown has 215,000 members, and then we started the Dentaltown app on the phone, which has now 50,000 members, and on the we put an online CE section where you can put like an hour course. We put up 350 courses, and they've been viewed over 600,000 times. So if those guys would, or you yourself would create an online CE course, it would be huge marketing for your Global Dental Implant Academy at gdia.com. And I'm really surprised that implant companies haven't taken advantage of that. I mean, if I owned an implant company, I'd put up a 10, 20-hour course on how to do implants from A to Z, and then if they got done watching it, they would be customers.
I agree. That's part of educating your clientele, and I think that you and I can chat after, and we'll definitely implement something, and I'm sure they'd be interested as well.
Yeah, I mean, because these kids come out of school $350,000 in student loans, and they're bombarded with, should I learn Invisalign? Should I learn sleep apnea? Should I learn to surgically place implants? Should I same day crowns? And they want to do it all, but they got to go in steps. And I think getting them the information better, faster, and cheaper will help them make a decision.
And I think this is one of the biggest things that one can do graduating, and even just trying to improve their practices. It's all free. I mean, there's YouTube. There's these wonderful forums that you provide, podcasts. I don't listen to any radio in my car. I'm either listening to a podcast, I'm listening to a book, an audio book, and I just educate myself, and I have the most amazing time just driving. I love driving. I love traffic. Because I use that time to just listen in and hear other people's experiences, and I think that's been very instrumental to my own education as well.
And you know why I think this show's gone viral, in all honesty? It's not only that I'm getting amazing guests like you, but they keep telling me
Good looks, Howard.
it's my handsome good looks. I think what it is they keep saying in emails, I'll be like, every third or fourth email say, I can't listen to the radio anymore. It's just going to be Trump and Hillary for half a year. They're completely burned out. They don't want to hear anything about it. I mean, people will walk into a house, and if that's on, they turn off the TV. So I think from now to the election, if you want to disengage from all that crap, podcast and the research shows that they're killing radio is what they're killing. You're right. It's in the car because they put up these receivers under bridges and stuff, and when you drive by, they can see what radio station measure all that stuff, and they say podcasts are crushing radio right now.
I think the reason why this type of forum for me is so refreshing is we cut out all the BS. I listened to a podcast. I forget the doctor's name. You did a podcast with him, and he was talking about his experience. He was in California visiting a dental convention, and he gets a call from the FBI that his FBI had just raided his office. I guess they got him on some kind of Medicaid fraud, and just hearing people's real stories and learning from their experiences and their mistakes and their shortcomings will save your butt. And it's a nice forum here because no one's trying to sell you anything. Everyone's just telling you about their own experiences. And I think that kind of wisdom is priceless. And it's better to learn from other people's mistakes on these type of forums and their experiences rather than try to do everything on your own and learn as you go. So I think these podcasts are truly amazing, and I think reading a little bit is also fantastic. Maybe stepping outside of the dental realm and reading some books about marketing and personal growth and on health. One of my 10 commandments. After
Which one are we? We're still on 6 technology, then 7 is marketing, 8 is exercise, eat well, which we're going to skip since I'm the host, and then 9 is model after someone company, and 10 is volunteer. So are you on technology or marketing, or are you going to go right to?
Marketing for me is really quick. Marketing is not advertisement, please. The way you dress, the way you speak, the smell of your office, the color of your logo, that's all marketing. So please take that into consideration. It's not just about getting an ad or sending out flyers and hiring someone to do your SEO. So that now, we can talk about marketing a little bit more in depth at a future date, but it's the brand as a whole, including you, including the way your teeth look, including the way you smell while you're sitting next to your patient. So, take those things into consideration.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was your age, the big gurus of cosmetic dentistry were up there and saying, you should be able to, present this to all your patients. And I remember raising my hand, just getting completely eaten alive. What was his name? The guy in Northern California that used to guest lecture in University of Pacific, California. Jim Pride.
Oh, okay.
And I said, well, your teeth are all brown and gnarly and crowded. And Walter Haley's teeth, I mean, they were frightening. And it's like, well, how do you expect all these people to sell to their patients when you don't even buy it for yourself? Yeah. And I think it's so funny when someone says, well, I'm a cosmetic dentist, and you're looking at their teeth, and it's like, are you kidding me? And I sold the most bleaching and the most Invisalign by having all the staff bleaching their teeth and wearing Invisalign. They'd say, well, can you talk with the Invisalign trays? And then your staff takes it out of her mouth and says, yeah.
Yeah,
And they're just
exactly.
like, oh my God.
Well, I believe in the treatments that I recommend to patients. So if they're good for the patients, they're going to enhance my patients' lives. I think we start with our own staff and from our own mouth. So that's big for me. Exercising, eating well, that you all know, but it'll create the energy to be able to sustain all of this. And modeling after someone or a big company, I have many mentors, you included, and I'm in my sixth year of owning a dental office. Well, I'm in my sixth year after dental school. I own six dental offices now, and I try to model myself after people who already paved the way, who've already done many of the things that I hope to achieve, and see what their pitfalls were, see what worked for them, and really try to imitate and improve upon what has already been done before you. So the last thing, the most important thing I want to leave you with is staying grounded. And I just got back, literally, I just got back from Guatemala. I know we're friends on Facebook, so you may have seen some of the pictures I posted, but I try to do that at least a couple of times a year. I've been to so many different places around the world with so many different organizations. One I would really, really highly recommend to all of your viewers is called Faith in Practice. Faith in Practice is an organization that I work with every single year. They're kind of like Doctors Without Borders. They're based only out of Guatemala. And the amount of joy and satisfaction that I get by volunteering and doing dentistry for free, taking a tooth out for free, not having to worry about getting case acceptance or getting a treatment plan approved, and just doing the right thing for free. It's such a tremendous feeling. And it has opened up so many doors for me and kept me so grounded that I feel like I got more back from the experience than what I gave to them. I took out some teeth, but having gone through these types of missions has changed me and has so contributed to my success that I highly, highly recommend that you make a little bit less money for about a week and go out there and let that experience change you for the rest of the other 364, weeks in the year. Jason Woods, who who's been on your show, I buy and sell offices, so I use him as a dental lawyer. He actually sponsored my trip last year. I don't know the exact name of his firm. I think it's Woods and I'm not sure the name of his firm, but if you go and do a mission, they will actually pay for your trip. So they were very nice to sponsor my trip to Guatemala last year. But Faith in Practice is an organization I recommend people connect with, or IUDA, or Doctors Without Borders, or find a local organization and give back and engage your patients and show them pictures of your volunteering. And I think that's a much, much, much better picture to put on your Facebook and show people who you really are than the generic smiles, or don't forget the floss that people post on their social media. I think that it'll not only change you internally, but it'll also change your perception, the perception of your patients towards what kind of a dentist they go to, one who gives back to the community and to the world as a whole. So I highly recommend that, and I hope that you guys have forums where dentists who are looking for volunteer opportunities can go on your website and go on your different channels.
We have 50 categories, root canals, fillings, crowns. One of them is humanitarian. And you should go on that humanitarian site and post about, it was Faith in
Practice.
Yeah, you should go in there and post the website link, Faith in Practice, and post some photos. The attorney you mentioned, Jason Patrick Wood, whose father was also attorneys, is dentalattorneys.com. And that guy is a saint. He's got about 10,000 posts on Dental Town. I mean, any dentist in the United States posts these legal questions, and he just answers the hell out of them all.
And he's good. He's so good.
Yeah, he's a saint. He really is.
I highly recommend him as well.
So how did you pick the Faith in Faith in Practice of all the charities? How did you find that one? And of 210 countries on earth, why Guatemala?
I've been to Guatemala, I've been to Colombia, I've been to Peru, I've been to Brazil, I've been to Vietnam, I've been to Jordan, I've been to so many different places
Wow.
volunteering that uh, it the reason I go to Guatemala most frequently is because I feel like that there's a great need in that country, and for me, it's been a pleasure. Every time I go down there, I spend about a week there, and the people are so nice and so happy that I come back here, and it's so hard to be upset. It's hard to be upset at traffic and oh, the patient canceled, and all the little things that just set us off. Don't really bother me for at least a couple of weeks and after I get back from Guatemala. And people say good morning and good afternoon and hello, and it's really refreshing to serve the people over there. They really have a joy de vivir that we don't have, or sometimes we lose sight of here.
I yeah, I mean, I can't say enough how important it's been to me over my career because you're juggling all these balls and you have all these goals, you have all these stresses, and then you go down to some country and they have no dirt, they have dirt floors, no running water, no electricity, and they're all smiling and they're all happy and they're
Yeah,
all playing and they're with family and instead of Facebook, they're playing a soccer ball and they're barefoot and instead of wearing a jersey with a number on it, they've taken charcoal and written the number on their back, bare skin back, of their famous soccer hero or whatever, and you're just like, God, it just so grounds you, and your blood pressure just falls in half, and you just realize what it's all about.
there's two things that'll make you happy, Howard, that'll immediately get rid of stress. One that you know running marathons, exercise immediately will relieve you of the majority of your stress, and helping others, just doing something nice. So those are the two things that'll give you the long-lasting energy you need. So I hope everyone, at the very least, implements those two things, those two commandments.
And the other thing I liked when I took my boys to Belize is that everybody complains about how hot it is in Arizona, but it's a desert. There's no insects, and when you go down to Belize and you go down to Guatemala and you get 18 million mosquito bites, you come back to Arizona and say, okay, I'll take the. Yesterday it was 118 here,
Yes,
but I
exactly.
didn't get a mosquito bite. But dude, I think you're an amazing man. I also wish you would go on Dentaltown under practice management and post the 10 dental commandments. I think that's
All right.
I think that's amazing content. Just amazing. I wish you go under the humanitarian section and because the humanitarian areas, dentists are always looking for this. I mean, there's 211,000 people alive in the United States that have a dental license.
Right.
And so if just 1% of them are looking for something to do like that, it
That's
would be
right.
huge marketing for them.
I will gladly post that. You can also visit my website, drarash.com. That's DOCTOR and my first name ARASH.com. I will definitely make those posts on your website as well. And
Can they email you?
yeah, absolutely.
What's your email?
My email is dr.hakamian@gmail.com. So it's D as in David, R as in Robert, and there's a period. And my last name, HAKHAM as in Mary, IAN as in Nancy at Gmail, Hakamian. So email me and
And what's your website?
my website is drarash.com, DOCTORARASH.com.
You are an amazing man, buddy. I can't believe you're 6 years out of school with 6 offices.
Thank you, sir. I owe a lot of it to you, my friend. So
You are too kind. But anything I could ever do with you or for you or whatever, you got my email, howard@dentaltown.com. I'd love to have those introductions. I'd love to have that sinus lift course on Dentaltown. They love that kind of stuff.
oh, fine. Yeah, I will gladly send it to you, and I'll speak to Dr. Sohn, who's a buddy of mine, and hopefully we'll see if we can get him on. I think your viewers would find a lot of these things very helpful. But keep doing what you're doing, and if everyone just takes one good piece of information from every podcast, that's a wealth of knowledge right there. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, buddy. I hope you have a rocking hot day.
Likewise.